story went that Egon left after the deal with the baby and Vigo. Egon left because he knew something was coming.
Damn it.
And so he left and took 90% of the equipment with him, including the car.
There we go.
That would have been.
And of course, Ray was pissed off about that.
Well, yeah.
And Ernie was pissed off about it. And Venkman was pissed off about it. None of them knew he died.
Oh.
He died trying to protect the world from Gozer.
Really? Gozer?
Gozer.
Yep. And once again, another Ghostbusters movie, and the only person not in it was Rick Moranis. So I don't get it.
Well, Rick Moranis has pretty much quit Hollywood altogether.
I didn't know
To
that.
concentrate on his family.
Do what?
To concentrate on his family.
See,
You haven't seen Rick Moranis in anything, basically, since...
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah. Or I Blew Up the Baby. And that was back in...
90s.
92? 91, 92? Because that's when they filmed part of it in Vegas, and that's when Dad was living in Henderson at the time, and I remember him complaining about the traffic snarls.
Yeah.
They shot the whole. Sorry.
No, not you. Step it up time.
They shot the whole film on location in Alberta, Canada, which meant they were extremely north, just exactly north of where my dad grew up. In Alberta.
How was your night while Dad and I were at the movie theater?
Very busy and painful.
Painful? How was it painful?
Because I wore those ankle weights for 2 days.
And you decided to take them off
Today, I decided not to wear them today, but I wore them
for
Monday
2 days.
and Tuesday, and now my knee was really protesting today. It flared up
Yeah.
at me like 3 times.
Yeah,
3 or 4.
yeah, especially after wearing those leg weights for 2 days.
No, that's what I'm saying. And I am so hungry. What'd you guys eat?
Hamburger helper and corn, like it said on the menu. So anyway, Egon creates this incredible trap with all of the remaining ghost traps that there were. There were like 50 of them or 60 of them. Bought this big piece of property in the middle of nowhere. And figured out where Gozer was coming from. And he had trained like 4 of those, proton guns down into this pit. So every time it tried to burn and got up too high, it would trigger them to go off, and they would go off and zap its ass back down.
Oh, okay.
But there were stories about people who were, because it was in a mine, and there were people that worked the mine that died, and it's also a direct link to the man that built the mansion that Dana lived in, or the high-rise that Dana lived in New York.
Gotcha.
He was actually in this time. It was played by J.K. Rollins, but he wasn't there very long.
J.K. Rollins?
Yeah.
It's J.K. Rollins.
Or J.K. Simmons, excuse me.
Okay. What about, did it say anything about Dana?
Yeah, Dana was in the very end after the credits ran, after most of the credits ran, and her and Peter are married.
Okay.
And she was doing that, she was testing his psychic ability with that machine he was getting his rocks off on with the grad students.
Yeah.
And he fucked her because he figured out how to mark the cards so he knew what they were. And she zapped his ass good. What was really cool is through movie magic, CGI
Excuse
Movie
me.
magic. They brought Egon back.
Oh, that's cool.
He was a ghost,
Yeah.
but his daughter could reach out. One of the last things that happened is that his daughter reached out and put her arms around him and hugged and hugged and hugged until
You
he
could feel him?
disappeared. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's cool.
and they dedicated it to Harold because he was a third of its creation, really.
Right?
And the film was done by Ivan Reitman's son, with Ivan Reitman firmly in the executive producer seat. Ray was still running his
Excuse me.
shop. Peter had become a legitimate professor and was teaching at a university. And Ernie has a business of some sort. It's a big business. You find that out at the very end. We almost walked out, but after the credits were done rolling, it popped up, and it was probably, I don't know, 90 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes long, of him and Annie Potts' character talking to one another.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She entered into the film right after right after his daughter and grandkids were evicted from their apartment, and they had moved into his house. Beginning of the movie, he dies. You don't know that, but he dies, and they give the reason of a heart attack. He had a heart attack, and he died. And
The
he
same
left
thing that killed on
everything
Uncle
to
Randy.
His daughter and his grandkids. His granddaughter, Phoebe, is just like him. Nerdy, super smart, intelligent. Found all of his shit.
Yeah.
He had a little shack that some of it probably wasn't this big, wasn't this wide, and it was another 6-8 inches taller than Egon stood. It had a fireman's pole in it to a pit down below.
Cool.
And that's where he had set up shop with all his instruments and everything to measure and to monitor. And then his daughter found it, and she was mad at him. She was pissed because he didn't have much to do with her because he left.
Right?
He had put an homage,
Aww.
pictures of her on
Yeah.
the wall down there
Sweet.
at various stages of her life.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
And so what it came down to is that he sacrificed everything to save the world.
What, it sounds very cool.
Yeah.
What time
Oh.
is your appointment with Dr. Rossi? Noon?
I didn't look.
Okay.
Damn it.
The
I thought it was
theater.
at noon. Bobby is at 2.
Yeah.
Dr. Rossi is not a procedure.
No.
So after whatever you do, come home. We'll leave sometime between 1:30, 1:45. Drop me off at work, and you can go to your appointment at Bobby.
All right.
They had a Slimer character.
Yeah.
What was it they called him? Muncher.
Munger.
Because he could, like, literally, he ate metal.
Oh my goodness.
And whatever he took a bite out of, he could then turn into projectiles.
Cool.
And they had captured him, put him in a trap,
Uh-huh.
and they got caught by the local police officer because of driving around in Grandpa's Ghostmobile, expired tags, underage behind the wheel. No. But it was really cool.
I'm sorry, it's cold and I don't have a coat.
And at the end, you realize that Ernie bought the firehouse.
Oh.
And he had a touching moment after everything was done. He came over to the car and he stroked the chrome on top of the fender.
Yeah.
And he said, "What are they doing?"
Oh.
And he said, "It's all right. We'll take you home.
That's
We'll
cute.
fix you up." And he did. He brought him home and brought it home. But Egon had installed a slide-out seat in it, in the
Yeah.
back seat.
Yeah, I saw that in the previews.
Yeah.
Or in the trailers.
Both brother and sister got to take turn on that seat.
Sweet.
She was wicked courageous. She wasn't scared of dick. Just like Egon wasn't. They leave all kinds of subtle hints before they drop the hammer on you and
Damn.
realize that who her grandfather was. So the last thing they show you is his name, Spangler, because he still had jumpsuits.
Well,
And they dropped hint that there might be something else coming behind this one because the device that Egon built,
Yeah.
the containment device that he built to dump the traps into,
Yeah.
was flashing red.
Oh.
And he had always told Pete and Ernie and Stans that it would be very bad if that thing lets loose.
Ah.
Well, it let loose once in the very first movie,
right.
and they had to go back and recapture everything they had already captured. What was it? Stans was saying, this is Aykroyd's character, said, "He really pissed me off because we went from having that big boom to nothing. We went from having 10 calls, 50 calls a week to maybe 1,
Right.
maybe 5. And he left. And he would, when they put him in jail. They put the grandkids, they put them in jail, confiscated her proton pack that she found and was using.
I'm
And
sorry, I
her-
probably would too.
Her grandfather, Egon, showed her how to fix it
Uh-huh.
so it would work. He made his presence known by manipulating things. Like the one thing he spent the most time manipulating in the movie were lights. Like when his granddaughter, when Phoebe went down there, he manipulated her along to get her to figure out where she needed to go. Like the puzzle on the floor, that was where he put the trap. And then when his daughter went down there, he became the lamp and showed her what he wanted her to look at with the lamp. Even the wall where all the pictures of her were from all of her various stages of life. With typical Egon comments too.
Okay, stop. I gotta pee,
Okay.
and I want to go in before I soak up too much gas.